Last night I watched a new Friday night movie, and it was one I've been looking forward to, and it was Mandy, written and directed by Panos Cosmatos. I mentioned, I think it was either maybe the year before last, on my roundup of the year on the podcast, which is available on the Podnose Network. It's very good. That I'd watched Beyond the Black Rainbow, his first film. That has still not been released in the UK, which I find really weird because Mandy's had such a good response. But I really love Beyond the Black Rainbow. And Mandy is more of the same, but he's got clearly more money and access to actors I've heard of. On a simple level, it's about a couple living in the woods. One is a logger for a timber company. The other runs the cash register at a gas station and draws fantasy images in her spare time. And they have a little quiet life together in the woods. They're clearly deeply devoted to each other. And then one day when she's walking to work, Mandy is spotted by a weirdo driving around in a van, and it turns out the weirdo is in fact the leader of an insane cult, and he summons some demon bikers to break into the house and do terrible things. To go beyond that, I think, is to spoil it too much. But so we have Nicolas Cage as Red, who wants revenge for what the cult does. You have Andrea Riseborough as Mandy, and Linus Roach as the leader of the cult, Jeremiah Sand, who felt like a cross between Charles Manson and Alan Partridge, in that he's really, really scary, but also massively self-deluded about himself, and takes it very badly when he plays his self-recorded album to Mandy and she laughs in his face. Also, he's got his penis out at the time, and that's probably not going to go down well either. One thing I loved about Beyond the Black Mirror, Beyond the Black Rainbow, which carries over into this, is the horrifying hallucinatory visuals. Have layering of images, bright colouring, colour washes, zooms. The whole film really feels like a nightmare that won't let you wake up. There is so much dream imagery, and the dream sequences within the movie itself, which are animated and look very stylized, but again, not cheap. There's real effort and real craft has gone into the whole movie. It's in many ways simple. You can see it on a superficial level of just a very, very stylized B movie, but Cosmatos is such an artist in the way he films, the way he edits, the way he shoots and composes imagery through edit and sound in particular. The sound in the film is extraordinary. The music is this kind of ambient metal, heavy metal sound. It was in fact the last score recorded by Johan Johansson, who also wrote the music for Arrival, many other films. He passed away last year and the film is dedicated to him. And it sounds fantastic, it looks fantastic. Nicolas Cage is the perfect choice because there are scenes early on where he just needs to be very restrained and quiet. The first scene where he and Mandy are together and he tells her a knock-knock joke, and it's a joke that doesn't even make any sense, and they laugh at how it doesn't make any sense, and it's a really sweet, charming establishment moment for their characters, that they're just comfortable with each other, even though we see that both of them have terrible trauma in their past. He's a recovering alcoholic, she suffered horrendous abuse and she has the scars on her face, but they're clearly very loving and very gentle. There's a scene where they're just sitting watching TV, eating dinner, which just seems like the most normal married couple thing in the world, and yet there are also demon bikers coming up the road who turn into monsters after drinking tainted LSD, which at one point Nick Cage's character tries. He just taps a tiny bit on his tongue and then has horrifying nightmares about all the skin sloughing off his face. It contrasts the beauty of the imagery with the horror of what happens in the film, the incredible violence, the insanity of Sand and his cultists. and it's hard to work out. I watched the movie this time yesterday, and I did think originally, oh, I'll record the first take straight after. Fine, no problem. I thought, no, I'm going to have to let this percolate for a while, because there was a lot there. And so I've been thinking about it today, and I am making very little progress. But it's something that I love about the movie, that there's so much there. It's such an overload of style and image and music and sound, and there's so much coming at you from all directions. It's an experience. I can only recommend it. I would recommend seeing it in the cinema. I saw a digital copy just on my television, which was fine, but seeing it with an audience, seeing it in an environment where there's other people experiencing it with you, which is the great strength of seeing a film in the cinema, that you're watching it with an audience, not... I'm going off on one, but the whole thing about cinemas being sold, oh, we've got IMAX, we've got 3D, we've got 4D, where the seat moves around like you're in a fucking roller coaster. I am not interested in any of those things. I'm interested in seeing films shown well, but with an audience. That's what's important. And I think seeing this with an audience would be a much better experience than just sitting watching it on my own. Same with Beyond the Black Rainbow, which again I saw as a digital copy on TV by myself. So I would recommend Mandy very highly. It is definitely, I think, an acquired taste. I did mention to a friend of mine I was going to see it, and he said, no, I think that's too spicy for me. So, okay. And in retrospect, yeah, it probably is a bit too spicy for that guy. But it might well be your exact taste.